Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Caleb Bowling, and I've had several people ask me several different questions about several different subjects, and so I'll be spending some time talking about them ever so often. One in particular that was asked me about this past week was about fasting. I just got a few pointers, so if you're interested in it, maybe these will be a help to you. First of all, what is fasting? Fasting is when you refrain from eating a certain amount of food or food altogether. Maybe it's a liquid only fast, you do only juice, or you do only water, or you can even do where you only eat vegetarian foods, something like that, different types of fast. But there's so much on this subject, I'll just be able to give you a few pointers on this. So let's take a look at a few passages here. Jesus talking in the Sermon on the Mount, he said in Matthew 6, verse 16, Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So, first off, when you're fasting, you do not want to be walking around all sad and moping around and oh me and oh my, look at what I'm doing because I'm fasting, look at all these things that I'm doing. And so we don't want that to be taking place. We want to live your life normally. And the Bible says so as others don't necessarily see what you're doing, because it's between you and God, really. It's not about having other people see you or to say what a great job you're doing in your fast and how spiritual you are. It's simply when you fast, it's asking God a question of, Lord, I need your direction in my life. I need your help. I need to know an answer to a question. God, I need to have specific directions. Let me encourage you also. You need to do a few things. Number one, I found that when I have fasted, I've done a few. I've done 2 or 3 day fast. I've also done a week long fast. And at one point, several years ago, I did a 40-day fast with juice and water. And so I've had some experience in the fasting area. There's several different topics as far as books that I have read to help prepare for these different types of fast. So the first thing you need to figure out is, number one, why am I going to do the fast? What is the question, or what is it in my heart that I need God's help with, that I need to have somebody answer? So that's the very first thing you need to decide before you start your fast. Why am I going to fast? Number two, you need to determine the length of your fast. For example, am I going to do a one full day fast, all 3 meals? Am I going to do 2 or 3 a day? Am I going to do a week long fast? Or am I going to go for 40 days? Or am I going to go for 2 weeks? How long of a fast will you be having? And also, in that, you can, if you want to do like a week long fast, and some have even done, they'll fast for 2 meals a day for a week. Well, you could even do that. There's no set limit as far as you have to fast so many meals. As a matter of fact, Jesus actually got on to the Pharisees because they said, well, we fast 2 times a week. Well, he said, bravo for you, but that doesn't really do much of anything if you just do it for a show to see how spiritual you are. The idea is, what has God laid on your heart to do? If it's to fast for 2 meals a day for a week, then that's what you need to do. If it's for all 3 meals for 1 day, or all 3 meals for 3 days, whatever God lays on your heart, that's what you can do. Let me say this about fasting. Fasting is about food, okay? I've heard several people say, well, you can fast from TV, or you can fast from things like this. Fasting is about the intake of food, though. And so you really need to only fast your food. Now, you need to watch less TV and spend less time doing things ever so often to kind of get your life refocused. But fasting in particular is about food. Every time it's mentioned in the Bible, it's not about recreational or anything like that. So here we want to make sure that we're living our lives on a normal basis as we fast. Also, I believe it's important for people to fast today. So first of all, we're going to figure out why we're going to fast and how long we're going to fast. We need to pray about these 2 things. And then we come to the importance of fasting, and that is In Matthew chapter number 9, verse 14, it says, Then came to him the disciples of John, saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast oft? That means many times. But thy disciples fast not. Jesus said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? Fasting is a very difficult thing. It's a time of mourning where you're really, within yourself, you're mourning the fact that you need to have some help. And you are coming to God and say, Lord, I need you. And it's not a time of necessarily joy. It's a very somber time in your life, as long as the bridegroom is with them. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. So fasting is a very important thing to do as a believer, and it's something that we need to practice, and I believe we need to practice it as often as possible. It draws us closer to God. So we've now figured out why we're going to fast, and we figured out how long we're going to fast and what type of fast we're going to do, whether it's a water fast, a juice fast, or cutting out certain types of meat or things like that. There's a book called the Daniel Fast that I've been reading. It's a good fast to do. It's a 21-day fast. I've not started it yet. I'm reading through that book. I'm going to try to start the next few weeks or so, but that's a good book to have read. If you're going to do a longer fast, then that would be some things I'd be willing to talk to you about on a later time. But sticking just to the basics here, I would also encourage you in your fast, fourth of all, to keep a journal of your fast. In other words, write down why you want to fast. Write that down. And while you're fasting and you're in your time of prayer, then you need to say, Lord, here's what I'm looking for, and write in your journal and keep track of what the Lord's shown you throughout your fast. Even if it's only for a one-day fast, still write a journal. The time of fasting is very important. Also, fifth of all, you need to have a set time. The fasting is when you set yourself aside from your food and you go, instead of eating, then you go and you spend time in prayer. So you make sure prayer is of vital importance to fasting. You cannot just not eat and then just go on about life. No, you do need to find a time for you to get alone with God. You can look that up in Matthew chapter 5 about going into your closet and praying, and the Father which seeth you in secret will reward you openly. And so you need to go in a quiet, secretive place where it's just you and God, and talk to Him about what it is that you are needing some answers about. So those are about 5 points there to review. Why are you going to fast? How long are you going to fast? What type of fast are you going to do? We're also going to keep a journal of the fast, and we'll set a specific time that we're going to pray and set aside these types of things. Now, what happens if somebody asks you, because we're not necessarily going to broadcast, look at me, I'm fasting, look at how great I am. But if somebody asks you, if you're doing it specifically, I remember I did a fast several years ago, and it was a long 40-day fast. I lost about 60 pounds on that fast. Well, people are going to notice halfway through that you're losing weight, and they're going to say, what are you doing to lose weight? So what are you going to say? Well, you just simply tell them the truth. Say, I'm just taking some time to fast and to pray about some things, and that's all you need to leave it at, and just go on about that. You don't broadcast it. If you have a lost person who wouldn't understand fasting, I'd encourage you to say, if you're going to do a amount of fast, say, listen, I just need to get alone by myself. If you eat with them a lot or you do things with them, say, I just need to spend some time by myself. I'm just trying to think of some things and think through some things in life. And so they'll understand that. So you don't have to use the word fasting with lost people or lost friends or things like that, or lost family members. Just say, I've got to have some time to kind of think through some things by myself, and just some alone time to kind of just refocus my life, because that's what the lost world thinks of in that area. And then when it comes to Christians, just simply say, I'm just spending some time alone with God and praying and talking to Him about things, and just spending some time fasting. And so that way you're not being prideful about it, but you are still, if somebody were to ask you that, those are some answers that you could give. All right, so those are the 5 ideas and just tips of fasting. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me about anything, I'd be interested in trying my best to answer any questions you have. You can email me at Pastor C. Bowling, BOWLING, at yahoo.com. And I'd love to answer any questions you've got. We'll talk to you later. God bless.